Yo, what's up, guys? NazUFC here again. Back with another video. So, MMA Junkie have released this article. It's a Q&A between Mike Bond and EA developers. And, I've read a lot of these articles and these Q&As, and most of them are very repetitive. And, they all ask the same questions and they all give the same answers back. But sometimes in some interviews, they do give better answers. They give more detailed answers that we like. And I feel like this was the best one of them all. So this is the one I'm going to go through. So I'm going to go through it with you quick. So I've already read this, so I'm just going to break it down quick for you guys, so you don't have to go and read it all yourself. So details about the impact system. We all know this. We've read about it. There's going to be cuts, bruises, which affect your ability to fight. If you get cut in the eye, then it's going to impair your vision, which means you might not see strikes coming from one side, or you're not going to be able. Your accuracy will decrease. So that's that. Doctor stoppages, we know how doctor stoppages work. If you get cut and the ref gets concerned, you'll pause the fight. The doctor will check on you and either call the fight off or let you continue. But if he lets you continue, you need to be concerned because a few more strikes to that, part that your face, you might lose. So you might need to either go all out or be very defensive and try winning the decision. It's you got to be very tactical. New strikes and hit reactions. So, of course, they're adding more features, which is cool. Ground elbows, knees, all that sort of stuff. They're bringing back ground elbows, which is UFC 4 didn't have ground elbows, and I think it's to do with like the age rating of the game. Um, we all know UFC 4 is mature now, M for mature, so elbows are back, um, and they're ruthless. Seamless submissions. So this question gets asked to all these developers, and they all say the same thing pretty much. They're all going to say the mini game's gone, and there's a new system, and like it says here, veterans will have new depths to uncover and enjoy, which means players like me, people who are really good at games like UFC, um, we're going to be a complete noob at these submissions, so we're going to have to learn them again, which is fun and exciting for us veterans, if you want to call it that way. Cinematic knockout replays. So if you win a fight by knockout, you basically get to see the replay which will be captured in slow motion, which is cool. You might be able to get some good screenshots, some cool angles. Hopefully, this is a cool feature. Advanced fighter likeliness. So I think this is on about the rendering of a fighter. It's they're gonna look a lot real. Their body types will look real because on UFC 4 it looked like they just copied and pasted body types, or they had different versions of body types and they just threw heads on them. I'm gonna skip ones that aren't really relevant. I'm just gonna go over the ones that are important. Visual effects. The visual effects will improve. We know that. New in-game cinematics. Yeah, so they're basically trying to say that the atmosphere of the fights you're in will be a lot better, which will make it seem like a real fight, which is cool. UFC 4, I always said that the crowd looked like NPCs, if that made sense. It never looked like a real crowd. Don't know if you guys have been to a real UFC event, but UFC 4 does not look like a real, atmosphere. That's what I say. Weekly challenges, that's in UFC 4 as well. Complete challenges, and you'll get like XP, you'll get calling cards, profile pictures. That's something that I didn't do on UFC 4. I'm definitely going to be focusing on my challenges from the start. So fuck it, why not? Collect a bunch of pictures that you can slap on every now and then, and it just makes you look cool, doesn't it? Alter ego. So basically, a lot of you wanted me to cover this. I can cover it right now. So it's it's just different versions of a fighter. So you get bald McGregor, you get McGregor when he was younger with hair, different weight classes, all that sort of stuff. So that with John Jones, he's older now. He might be exiting his prime. Who knows? But there's another variant of him younger, probably before the illegal elbow incident. Where he was undefeated and he was lethal back then. They might have fucking cocaine John Jones. Who knows? That would be insane. Imagine playing as John Jones, which is under the influence. That would be insane. What will the roster size look like? So there's going to be a lot of fighters. 250 unique fighters is a lot. I think that's around the same amount UFC 4 is at right now. And plus you get alter egos, which means there's different versions of them too. So about 300 plus at launch. And plus they're going to be adding fighters every month is what they're saying. Character models will be updated. If there's fairly significant change in a fighter, so what they're trying to say is if someone changes their look in real life quite significantly, like Oliveira changing his hair adding loads of tattoos, then they'll obviously update them. But if not, they're just going to leave them the same. Can you share more about alter egos? It will be very authentic of the way they look from the era or event they're based off. Doesn't mean they're always going to stick to with authentic representation of part as well. We have the origins that we show during the presentation from outside the world of UFC, and we hope to add more to that as well. Also, they're going to add more alter egos, which is cool. Um, I'd really like to see an alter ego of Tony Ferguson because if I feel like Tony Ferguson's gonna have really low stats in this game because he's exiting his prime. If they use his current version, he's not gonna be too great easy. So hopefully they bring back 2016 Tony Ferguson, where he was correct. What can you share about the new submission system? Um, right, so the answer to this question is quite detailed, to be fair. So I'm just gonna read it. With seamless submission, it's going to be clean. It's going to be an extension of the ground game. There's no more mini game that's going to pop up over your fighters. It's going to be the same. HUDs and submission are going to flow with one another. There's going to be transition, submission, reversal sweeps inside the submission, so it's a lot more smoother. Right. That's very interesting. That's actually very interesting. So yeah, that's a lot. I feel like the game's going to become a lot more technical after reading that. So yeah, that's actually super interesting. Outside of the new submission system, how has the ground game evolved or been changed? 60 frames is going to change the way it was going to play. Oh yeah, I was actually when I was reading this, I thought that if it was 60 frames and you see everything moving in like slow mo, if that makes sense, it will make the game too easy. So I think they're gonna make transitions a lot faster, which means you actually have to react a lot faster to deny transitions if they use the same ground game, system. So yeah, 60 frames mean the game has to be a lot faster because wrestling will be too easy. Because I remember when I went from PS4, which was very low frames on UFC 4, and I switched to PS5, I can legit hold anyone down on UFC 4 if you've watched me play. Um, I can hold people on side control until the round ends. It's crazy. I was actually playing a streamer called Roy Season earlier, and the ping we get, he's from the US, is like 120. I was holding him in side control with ease, and that's with latency, high latency as well. So I think they're going to make transition speeds a lot faster in this game. We've added we've added elbows in ground and pound this year. Our real damage system is going to play a significant impact on the ground game itself, just because of these elbows and the ability to cut and hook. It's going to a different way to play the ground game. You do not want to get hit this year on the ground, or the feet is going to be a lot quicker. And guys, I was actually talking to my mate about this as well. So we were discussing that the meta is going to be a lot different this time around. Um, on UFC 4, we were really hunting for like stuns and wobbles, and then when you stun your opponent, you throw a massive combo, you drop them. The focus of UFC 4 was landing a good strike to hurt your opponent, dropping them, and then finishing them. In this game, you just want to land that. You just want to land shots so you can cut your opponent up, damage them, and make them, visually impaired. That's the objective. But if that's the objective, you've also got to be concerned for yourself. You don't want to get hit yourself. So it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a lot more tactical this way, patient. I think the a very good style for UFC 5 to start off with is being patient and picking your shots to the face. Um, Hitting them and not getting hit, of course, that applies to any fighting game, but still, you want to be a lot patient and you want to focus on just landing strikes to their face. I think that needs to be the objective. You don't want to land really good shots. I think volume and landing consistently to the face, is going to be key to winning fights on UFC 5. I just have that feeling. I might be wrong. Who knows? What can you say about the new damage system? So I think you all know about the damage systems. Like here it says elbows will cut you. We all know that. And it will change the meta of the game. If you get cut over your eyebrow, affect your vision. Yeah, guys, we already know all this. We know, blood's going to make, your vision impaired and all that sort of stuff. Getting kicked to the leg will make you limp. All that stuff, getting hit to the stomach. If you get, winded, you're going to lose a lot of stamina. We all know that sort of stuff. What about striking? What are some of the marquee changes? We've added all new strike and hit reactions this year. By hit reactions, I wonder if that means like frame traps, because if it there's that's a feature in UFC 4 too. If you get hit by a good strike to the stomach, sometimes it makes you like jump a bit before you can do anything. It could mean that. Um, like another example is when you get kicked to the leg as you walk into it, it makes you trip a little bit for a second. It probably just means that, and they've added more animations and features to it. You can have a normal leg kick, but if you do the input, you can also throw a calf kick. So they're gonna have calf kicks in this game, but it was also calf kicks was also a kick which was introduced into UFC 4 quite late into the game. I think it was like 6 seasons in, which was like half a year into the game, which isn't too late, but still, that's probably why they're mentioning it, because they're gonna have that feature in from the start. You could throw your hook, but if you hold the input, you could throw an overhand. Wait, what? I think they're gonna change how you press buttons on this game. So on UFC 4, you hold R1 and press square to throw an overhand, but now it seems like you hold square alone to throw an overhand. I think they're trying to make striking a lot easier. You can throw a hook, but if you hold the input overhand, okay. Same with a question mark kick. Yeah, so if you throw a roundhouse kick, that's similar to UFC 4, but if you hold the button, it will throw a question mark kick. I see. See where they're going with that. It might take a few days for you to get used to, but you will get used to it, and it probably is better. There's a reason they switched the striking system like this. It probably works out better. And I wonder what R1's used for now. If it's not, if you don't use overhands for it, it must be another feature they're adding into the game. If you throw a roundhouse kick and miss it, you can turn your body and throw it into a spinny bat fist. All right, so you can double up on strikes, which was also a thing on UFC 4. But there's probably more to it on this game. There's probably every fighter can do it. It's not just limited to a few fighters on like it was on UFC 4. This is an interesting one. There are frustrations with the knee to elbow combination in close range. Has that been addressed? So we all know what that they're trying to say there. Knee elbow spammers, or what I like to call it is knee-bow spammers. Um, Players like Pityu were just heavy pressure knee-bow spammers, and that's all they did. And it's crazy to think that that man played the game for 3 years, just walking up to you, holding R2 and pressing triangle and circle constantly and winning fights. It was really effective. And so the answer to that is the body knee combination is an interesting one. It's something that we've seen in UFC for quite a bit. Glad to say we've looked at it and fixed it as best we can. So they're trying to fix it as best we can. So that they're admitting that it was kind of overpowered. I'm glad that they, agree with that. And it was. Um, I got to a point in UFC 4. I just had to accept that the knee elbow was a thing, and I had to just somehow beat it. And that just proves to everyone that was knee elbow spamming in the game that you were abusing a very overpowered technique. So all you guys suck, and yeah, you guys are gonna get patched out like I always said, you know. But yeah, carrying on. Um, in our internal competitive testing, we think we fixed it. Then again, we'll see what happens when we go live. It's always interesting to see the new meta when we go live. Wonder what that means. Competitive testing. I'm guessing when competitive players tested a game, they seem to think that the knee elbow was fine and easy to deal with. That's probably what that means, I guess. How do you approach the balance of realism and arcade style play? So, what they mean by arcade style play is when both players just spam and it becomes all hectic, and it's kind of like how like UFC 2 was. That was a very arcade game. You press a button and you have to wait for your character to do a massive kick, which could take a while to land. But on UFC 3 and 4, they kind of fixed that. The game became a lot realistic and technical. So I forgot what this answer was. We've added game styles this year. What game styles I like to do is essentially pick the way you want to play, any way you want to play game styles. You can apply them in career mode, you can search for them in quick match online, you can apply them in any mode, fight mode, tournament mode, any part of the game. Play styles. I wonder if that's only for like your created fighters. There's a stand and bang game style which disables the ground game. So stand and bang mode, we all know what that is. You can apply that to career mode. So there's a stand and bang career mode. Okay, cool. Now you can have a stand and bang only career mode. Okay. Or there's a knockout game style for casual users. and you have a health meter just fall to 0, kind of like Street Fighter. There's a knockout mode on UFC 4 too. They're just bringing back those games. Why not? It makes the game fun for like casuals, I guess. It's a simulation game style you can apply to any game mode in the game. It'll be much harder stamina, much more real impact damage. I guess that's just a real time fight. On UFC 4, if you set the clock speed to real time, you have a lot more stamina and it takes a lot longer for you to win a fight. So I'm guessing that's what that means. You basically do not want to get hit at all in that mode. That's real time, real clock. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Um, what details can you share about the changes to career mode? So I wasn't really interested in career mode at first, but this online career mode, it sounds interesting. I wonder if there'll still be a lot of cinematics that you have to watch and shit about your fighter. That would be cool. Shevchenko welcome to play along with Coach Davis, and they're going to guide the player through their career. Okay. Well, okay. So Shevchenko welcomes you as the game starts, kind of ruining the game for us. There's going to be new cinematics, new locations, blah blah blah. I don't really want to get too much into this, but yeah, there's going to be an online career mode. You guys know that. You can pause the video and read that if you want. I'm not really interested in it. Um, yeah, actually the new also there's new sponsorships in career mode. Prime Hydration, Toyo Tires, ESPN, Venom. They're all sponsors who will sign on with you and give you what you do. That's actually quite interesting. To be fair, that caught my attention. So you can get sponsored in this career mode. That's something that they didn't have on UFC 4, at least I don't think. Has there been consideration for Dana White mode or in my gym style of mode where you run the UFC? So what they're trying to say is, can you be a promoter or like a boss like Dana White? That can be fun for like players. It's similar to like the FIFA games where you play as the manager. That makes sense. I didn't play much FIFA. I don't. Maybe that's a mode. Maybe it's not. But I'm guessing it's that sort of approach. We're always looking for opportunities and trying to listen to community as far as what ideas. I bro, I don't think that's going to be a mode. You can tell by the way they're answering the question. It looks like they're saying they're going to. Yeah, it might be an idea for the next game, possibly. Is there any chance of Pride mode returning? I don't know what everyone's obsession is with Pride mode returning. It would just be a massive like street fight, knees allowed. I guess that could be kind of cool, but damn, they would have to do a lot of work for them to make a Pride mode. A lot more animations and strikes that you can throw. So it would be really hard to make Pride mode, in my opinion. So I don't think they're just going to add it in. Also, the UFC 5 developers, because Frostbite is new, they focused a lot on performance and that sort of stuff on this game. That's why they couldn't do things like adding in these new modes. It will just. I feel like the game's going to be a copy and paste of UFC 4, and they're going to change a few things. There's not going to be a lot of changes. I reckon the change between UFC 5 and 6 will be a lot because now they don't need to focus on performance when they're going into UFC 6. They'll just focus on making the game better experience for us, I guess. But UFC 5 is still going to be great. I actually wondered this question. Thought I thought fouls would be a thing if doctor stoppages were a thing. Who knows? But probably not. There are no fouls in UFC 5, so I don't think there's been fouls in UFC in a long time. Fight Night Champion had fouls, didn't it? Will there be a PC version? Guys, I don't know why this question gets asked a lot. I know there's a lot of try-hard PC players, but goddamn, any game that's on PC either gets hacked within a week, you know, files get leaked, data gets leaked. That's the only reason they probably didn't go onto PC. It's cheaters, bro. Like, yeah, fuck PC. I really don't want this game to come out on PC. I don't want future games to come out on PC. Fuck that. Fuck that. I hope PC players can understand because that is the truth. Look at Call of Duty. They invest billions in their anti-cheat. Oh yeah, don't say, oh, just add it to PC and invest in anti-cheat. It's not how it works. They'll UFC, EA Sports UFC will create an anti-cheat and hackers will figure a way around it. And then they'll need to invest more in the anti-cheat and make, back and forth. Oh, I appreciate the sub. I don't know why I get notifications when I'm not live. That's pretty strange. Um, so yeah, that's why it's not on PC, and I'm glad it's not. Will there be crossplay? So this is the question I actually asked because I thought because I have both consoles and I hate switching over, I'd rather it just be crossplay, make it so much more easier. Um, Unfortunately, there won't be any crossplay. With the focus on Frostbite for UFC 5 and the additions and upgrades we've made with that technological leap, that was our Destiny main focus for the title. So as I was saying earlier, they were focusing more on performance and and the change from Frostbite to the old engine to Frostbite was a significant change. They focus more on performance, I guess. So that's why they weren't able to focus on things like crossplay. Later on, we'll talk about game chat, which you're going to be disappointed about too. But there's a lot of things they didn't add into the game that we really wanted. But oh well, the game will still be great. What about the way fights are judged? Any adjustments? Can fights end in a draw? So this is interesting. Yes, fights can end in a draw this year. Judges can score 10-9, 10-9, and 10-8 to make it a draw, or score 10-10 rounds. 10-10 basically means if you both knock each other down like 5 times each and both have an X in a round, that's basically what a 10-10 is. You guys know what a 10-8 is. Basically when you dominate your opponent and they practically do nothing to impress the judges. And yeah, I remember I had a fight once on UFC 4. I'm glad draws are a thing. And I actually lost this fight. It was a 5 round fight. It was a competitive fight, and it happened in the league. And I was under the impression that I was dominating the fight. I was winning the fight. So it goes to decision, and then I noticed it was a split decision because the way that Bruce Buffer was speaking, and he goes 50-45 Dustin Poirier, who was me, and then he goes 48-47 Charles Oliveira, my opponent, and he goes Bruce Buffer goes. And then this judge scores it 48-47 for the winner by split decision, Charles Oliveira. So I won. One of the judges gave me 50-45 all 5 rounds, and the other two gave my opponent 3 rounds. I thought, mate, that fight should at least been a draw or me winning because that was complete robbery. And if you see on Reddit, everyone complains about how they got robbed. It probably just should have been a draw, if that makes sense. It probably was a really close fight. So people won't ever get disappointed with the results again, I guess. Return of voice chat, as I was saying earlier, there will be no voice chat, unfortunately. And I can probably explain why to you guys. So, wait, what's going on here? Why is there a new tab there? Give me a sec. There we go. Yeah, so game chat was removed after UFC 3 because it was using VoIP. So we all know UFC's on dedicated servers, which protects your internet, your IP. But game chat was like P2P, which means player to player, which means if someone wanted to grab your IP address, they were able to. They were able to grab your IP address. And cheaters, they can do a lot with your IP address. They can stress your internet, which will cause you to lag out on matches. They can find where you live, and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why they got rid of game chat. But they can still figure out a way to bring it back without it having to be player to player. Like Call of Duty, they've got game chat, and all their IPs are protected. So they need to, they need to figure out a way to bring that back. Because if you're allowed to beat the shit out of each other on this game, surely you can talk a bit of shit as well. Because I'm guessing they're using the excuse, oh, people like to abuse game chat a lot and say a lot of bad shit. But that's only because it's a fighting game and it's fun to talk shit to your opponent whilst you're fighting them. It's just fun like that, and I don't see why UFC 5 don't bring game chat in. I really don't. But yeah, the questions that I get asked now are quite boring and they're quite forced, so I'm gonna skip through the ones that aren't really interesting. If you want to read them yourself, go ahead and pause it. Online career mode. Online career mode includes skill-based matchmaking, so kind of like ranked division progression and title chases across 4 divisions. By the way, I read another article, and normal ranked mode will be returning online world championships. I don't know how the weight division system works in that, but that's going to return. There's also going to be an online career mode. Players can compete with a different great fight in each division, allowing players to showcase multiple character customizations and finity items, which basically means like cosmetic items, which doesn't affect gameplay whatsoever. So that's cool. Yeah, cool. And then there's pre-order perks. If you pre-order the game, you get 3 days early access, and you unlock a few, fighters who most of them aren't alive, like Ali and Bruce Lee, but but still, that's cool. Bruce Lee's been in nearly every UFC game that I've played, and yeah, he's fun to use. He looks really realistic in this game, though. In previous games, he did not look like a real human sometimes, but now he's starting to look more like a human. He looks like that actor that recently played Bruce Lee in that movie. That's what I compared him to. He really looks like him. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's that. Super interested for UFC 5 again, but there's a few things that have disappointed me today, especially with game chat being removed. Um, Not being removed, it's not being brought back. Because remember, game chat was always there. It was in UFC 2 and UFC 3. Don't get it wrong. And yeah, UFC 3 servers are going to close during a period when UFC 5 comes out too. So once that's gone, there will be no game chat UFC games. It will just be UFC 4 and 5. Um, there's no cross-platform. Another huge disappointment. I would have loved to play people on Xbox from my PlayStation, because why not? It's the exact same game. Both consoles can run it smoothly. Why couldn't they make it cross-platform? It could just be to do with money, buy the game on both consoles if you really want to play it on both, sort of thing. EA love money, don't they? But yeah, guys, I'm gonna end the video there. My voice is going because I've been speaking so much today, and it's already dry. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Drop comments down below. Drop a like on this video. I'm still going to be pumping UFC 5 content out, and I think the gameplay trailer will drop during the Adesanya card, UFC 294 Saturday. So yeah, we'll see if that happens. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.